Well, Ryan, we're a month into the season. Not sure I've left the couch completely, but I'm a little bit out of breath after that game tonight. How you doing today?
Yeah, big comeback. 4 goals in the third period to erase a 3-0 deficit. They woke up.
Yeah, we'll get to the Leafs in a few minutes,
We'll
but
get to
I'm not
Leafs. Yeah,
sure.
let's
I'm
talk
not
about the
sure
hot
a
team.
one period a game is going to suffice it with the schedule they've got coming up. So
Yeah.
let's.
Well, I have to say something before we get started on the Habs, which is you have to be careful how you title these episodes because the Habs off to a hot start did okay, but as soon as you said Leafs are sputtering or whatever it was titled, our viewership or our listenership went up by 33%, which is to say that perhaps more people are interested in listening to how bad the Leafs are than they are as to how good the Habs are.
Well, I think there's two kinds of hockey fans. There's hockey fans that are Leaf fans, and there's fans that just hate the Leafs and want to root against them. So, I think the team is extremely polarizing, and with that, we'll move on for a few minutes on that. So for sure. But look at your Habs. Yeah, your Habs continue to lead the division, 9-3, a month into the season. Did you ever imagine that this would be their course this year?
I didn't. I did imagine that they'd be better than last year, as I said. And one of the things I would have predicted is actually coming to pass. I didn't expect it would happen every single game, which is their youth and inexperience with leads them to blow a lot of leads. They're seemingly blowing leads in every single third period of every single game, which is making me very concerned. But if Marty St. Louis is not too worried about it and he thinks it's something they can work on and get better at, then I trust the man. He's gotten them this far.
Yeah,
But it definitely makes for some
exciting
heart attack
hockey.
hockey. Yeah,
They're fun to watch. They're fast. Dobish seems to be has taken over the net a little bit,
a little bit, a little
and
bit. I
he's
mean,
looking good. And
yeah,
look at Demidov is everything he was advertised so far.
and getting better and showing some defensive responsibility too. They're giving him more minutes because he's not a defensive liability. Like, look, he's not going to be a Selke candidate anytime soon, but he is playing pretty well on both sides of the puck, and I'm very impressed with that. Especially with you've got him paired on the second line with another rookie.
Yeah,
I mean, Oliver Kapanen. I mean, he's slowed down a little bit scoring wise, but you could have argued that he belongs in the Rookie of the Year conversation as well, just with the way he's playing on both sides of the puck and killing penalties.
yeah.
On top of it all,
But Demidov is not playing like a rookie. He seems to have the maturity and the playing style and puck possession and confidence that
yeah,
he's playing like a veteran, which
yeah,
is coming across in his numbers, and I'm look at it's helping the team for
yeah.
sure.
And then, Slavkovsky's gotten off to a much stronger start than he has in the last 3 seasons. And that was a big concern coming in. Would he get off to a decent start? That whole first line is just caving in the opposition on every matchup, every week and every game, I should say, and doing really, really well. And when they
get
get
some
Caden
highlight real goals going on too. That spinorama was I call it the Team Canada goal, and I thought it was Demidov that made that pass, but you've corrected me and sort of
it was Suzuki. Yeah, they're starting to look really, really good. They're starting to look really, we talked last week about the Canadians' power play and what it looked like since Demidov moved on to the number one unit and how dangerous they are from how much they can move the puck. And as long as they move their bodies as much as they pass the puck and confuse the defensive alignment, then they are going to score a lot of power play goals this season.
Yep.
And they've looked, except in third periods, they've looked very, very solid defensively too, very structured, clearing pucks out of the front. Been very, very impressed with them coming back. Their forwards, and this is something we should talk about with the Leafs a little bit because it's something I keep noticing with them, is their forward back pressure coming back into the defensive zone is late. And that's why they're giving up so many trailing man goals. And that is an effort. That's an effort thing.
I feel like on every goal I text you after the goal and going, yet another bad defensive forward coverage, another late trailer, either it's a winger or a defenseman scoring goals against the Leafs. It's just happening too much. They're disconnected as a unit. As I keep saying that they're not playing a tight enough five-man unit in the defensive presence. They continue to be one of the worst teams defending the rush, and that's why.
Yeah, and the Canadians haven't been. They've been, I mean, look, they're still not a top five defense by any stretch, but in the first couple periods of the last few games, they've looked really, really solid, and they have turned that kind of defensive back pressure. lifting a stick from behind and turning the play the other way into offensive opportunities there. That's why they're a really good rush team because they do a
Mhm.
lot of that off turnovers. So
Well, they're also possessing the puck, and I should
yeah.
have their numbers the way I have the Leafs numbers, but they're playing in the offensive zone more. They're possessing the puck. They're not one and done. They're actually their offensive zone um, pressure is seems to be a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think on the other hand, they have to turn a lot more of that offensive zone time into high danger scoring chances. And I think there's a bit of a divergence there that they have to work on, like get more pucks into tougher areas, but they're getting there. They're definitely getting there. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
You're
all kudos
happy.
to the Canadians. I'm happy with them. They've got a lot more home games coming up, so hopefully they can bank a lot more points before they go into a tougher part of this schedule pre-Christmas, where I think they're I don't know something like playing 18 games in 19 days or something stupid like that. Um, but quite frankly, I looked at their schedule in December and I was like, the only thing it was missing was a doubleheader. Baseball.
The first ever NHL doubleheader.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But on to the Leafs. We talked about the
Oh,
bad defensive play by the forwards, but what else is going
well,
on with
well,
them?
let's start. Let's backtrack a little bit on the week here. I started the week on the couch. I don't think I've quite left the couch. I think I might be sitting up on the couch, but I'm not definitely not
You're
off the
not off the
couch.
couch yet.
They started off the week playing Calgary, and although they won, it wasn't an impressive win. Again, good goaltending, but a 4-3 victory over Calgary with a team that's having trouble scoring goals just isn't the way you need to play. Then getting absolutely embarrassed against Columbus. And that I know Columbus looks better this year and playing better, but they were embarrassed. Again, that whole point of offensive zone pressure, none. One and done on every rush. And part of the reason why they get so disconnected in the defensive uh, um, zone is because they start on against when they give up the puck in the offensive zone, they're so disconnected by that time because the puck's going back in the other way. And I think every team is understanding where their deficiencies are and rushing the puck up quickly and getting them out of position and then the trailer seems to be open on every play. And I think on that game, that Columbus game, on every goal I was texting you after going, yet another trailer scores the goal. There it goes again,
And then
another
it happened
trailer
again
scoring
tonight.
the goal. And it happened again tonight. And tonight, and then they go and play the Philadelphia Flyers, a game they should have won and dominated. Thankfully they did. Look at, you know, the injuries aren't helping with Nylander being out. You see the team with him and without him. They're a different offensive looking team with him. And when he's engaged and possessing the puck and winning some of those battles down low, they're a different team. Tanev being out. Let's talk about that. That's a bad injury.
How
Losing
long
our
do you think
best
he's out? I
defensive
mean,
player.
that's like what his second concussion in a week.
Well, they're saying it's not a concussion. They're saying it's whiplash
Okay.
because it was a neck injury. They thought it was
Okay.
a concussion, but the way he was stretchered off the ice and his neck being immobilized, it was whiplash. And if you watch the play, his neck really snapped back pretty aggressively. So I think, I would say he's out probably. I don't think it's day to day. I think it's week to week. So you think he's going
Okay.
to miss the next 4 or 5 games probably at least. But let's
But it's
hope.
long. But it's
He was on IR, right?
yeah.
So he
But it's
has to
not
miss
long
minimum
term. You don't
four,
think?
right? Is it IR 4 games
I,
minimum?
I can't
I
remember to
can't
be
remember.
honest with you.
But yeah, so you hope that it's not too long, but you think he's going to miss the rest of this week for sure. And they got a tough week coming up. They had the Pens tonight, which, but they play Utah, Boston, Carolina, then Boston again in the next 7 days. That's a pretty tough schedule.
Not that tough. Boston kind of sucks.
Boston, yeah, but Utah and Carolina will be tough tests.
Yeah. 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 For sure.
And the way they're playing, everybody's a tough test at the moment. But it's all part of it too, is winnable games. You got to win those winnable games. And the Leafs have had a very favorable schedule so far in terms of home versus away. They've played a lot more games at home. They're going to have a long stretch here at some point going on the road. And you got to tighten up. You got to tighten up your own zone. It's also the compete level. You just in those first two periods tonight, you just didn't see the compete level. Again, they were not winning puck
Well, they
battles.
dropped Nyes off the power play. That was clearly a
Well,
message, right?
and
That's got to
and
be a
well, it
message.
was interesting because they dropped Nyes off the top power play, put Cowan out there, and then by the middle of the second period, Cowan was being missed every third shift. So, and Nylander got moved up to the top line.
Right.
Robertson got moved down to the second line. Cowan went moved down to the third line and was getting skipped over quite frequently. And actually, I would say that whole line was getting skipped over. You didn't see a lot of Cowan, Waugh, and Dakota, Joshua, and that's from the middle of the second period onwards. I know these guys are new. Look at Mac.
Michelli?
Michelli was scratched tonight, so you need a little bit more out of these guys we brought in. Yes, it takes a little time to get acclimatized to the Toronto spotlight on you, but the three guys, Waugh, Dakota Johnson, Joshua,
Dakota
and I want to say
Joshua.
one to Johnson, Joshua and Michelli. We
I mean,
haven't
I'm
seen
sure
a
she's a
lot
great
out of them.
hockey player.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. But we haven't seen a lot out of these guys so far. And again, we're
Right.
sitting in the same position with Toronto that we were last year. You got your top three or four guys scoring and producing. And up until tonight, actually, even only Matthews only had 9 points. Now he had a couple points tonight, which has helps him. But beyond that, you skip down, and then you got a couple defensemen in the point race, and then the next forward was Robertson at 6 points, which is terrible. So
You
again, you're
got to
not.
admit Robertson made a hell of a move for the winning goal.
Yeah, but you know what? With the amount of opportunity he's getting, he's got to do it more often. I'm
Okay,
sorry. You're
okay, but
never
you
going to
got to
get
give him.
me.
I
You're never
want
going
you
to
to.
get
I
me.
want you to give him credit for the
I
effort
will
that
give him
came in
credit
on
on
that.
effort on that one, but most of the
Okay,
time his effort is for naught because he's thrown off the puck too easy. And actually, he fell off the puck and the puck just slipped off his stick and went to
he bowled his
McCann.
way to the front. It was 100%
Yeah,
effort.
yeah,
If
I
it was
know. It
anybody
just,
else, you would have given him all the credit in the world. But
yeah, I
it's
don't think
not
so.
because it's
Not
Nick
right now, the way
Robertson.
they're playing. I'm not giving him anybody
Okay.
credit. It's just being
Um.
disappointing. Look at, look at, yes, you give him credit. Look at, they came back tonight. Something must have been said. I want to be a fly in the wall today in that second intermission and what Burby said to them because they came out as a completely different team and scored 3 goals in 7 minutes.
Right. Well, they're
So,
7-5-1,
yes,
so they're in decent shape. They're in third in the Atlantic. Nowhere to go but up. Right.
nowhere to go but up.
There you go. They're doing. They'll be fine. Get off the couch. They'll be fine. And if they need something to shake things up, I know it's November, but it's time for the porn mustache to go, Mr.
It
Matthews.
was
It's
time for that thing to go 2 years ago.
I know, but now they're desperate times call for desperate measures,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. You need
It
a new
either
look.
has to go or you got to grow out the rest of it and
Yeah,
have a
you need a
full
new
beard
look. You need a new look.
because
Absolutely.
that's terrible.
But you need they need a more consistent effort, right? I think that's the
Yeah,
biggest thing. You need to see this effort and what we saw in the third period, I'm sure is what Berube wants out of them 60 minutes.
right.
There's ups and downs during games, yes, but we're having a lot more downs than we're having ups. And if we can get that third period out of them on a regular basis, yes, they'll be fine.
Okay.
But that's what we need. So, that said,
I'm just getting you off the couch, getting you
there you go.
outside,
You're
enjoy the
helping me.
beautiful
You're
weather.
helping. So let's go around the league a little bit. What's
Yeah.
high on yours? What are you noticing this week? What are you?
All
I
right.
know you
Well,
had a
just
couple
before
things
we
on your mind.
Yeah, before we go around the league and stuff like that, I just wanted because we were talking about the Pittsburgh Leafs game tonight. Ben Kindle
Kindle.
had Kindle. I keep saying Kimbrel.
How come you can pronounce all the Russian and Finland players and you can't
It's a
mention
very good
Kindle?
question. I think I've just got Craig Kimball because baseball season just ended, and that was my way of subtly giving you shit for the Blue Jays losing to the LA Dodgers on Saturday.
My stomach still hurts from the gut
You're,
punch I got from that one.
yeah, that one stings. Anyway, Ben Kindle really,
Impressive.
you talk about Demidov looking like a responsible rookie, and looking like a veteran. Kindle was out there looking like a veteran playing with Evgeny Malkin, moving the puck around in the last couple of minutes when they were trying to get the tying goal, at least not the last minute where they were just passing the puck around like they had a 5-minute power play at it. And it's like, guys, you got like 14 seconds left in the game. Get the puck on that. But aside from that, I thought Kindle looked really good. Who is this kid?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Before this season, I didn't know who he was. He's obviously a rookie, but the Penguins overall, they've got these young kids like Kindle and Pickering on the back end. I know he had a bad game tonight in the third period, but They're getting more out of their rookies than I think they expected at this point.
Yeah.
And as we said in the weeks previously, you're getting an all-star year out of Crosby and Malkin
Yeah.
and Carlson for that point on the offensive side, anyways. A little bit of throwback from the three of them, and you add that with the rookies overachieving. Jari seems to have found his game right now, to some degree. So it's
They may stick around at the fringes of the playoff race for
yeah,
a
we'll
while.
see,
Yeah.
They have the opportunity to, so, but who
Yeah.
knows?
So speaking of the playoff race, and it feels stupid, calling it that at this point. Um, but uh, the entire Eastern Conference has a winning record. I don't
Which is
know
pretty
quite what to
amazing.
make of that. That's remarkable, right? Like there isn't a single team with a losing record. There isn't a team that is more than 1 point out of a playoff spot. Now,
It's incredible.
I don't know if
Parity.
that's just because all of these, if it's actual parity and these teams are all, roughly close to each other, or there's a, whether you could just chalk it up to October hockey, right? Like these teams haven't really found their stride yet. So you're going to win some, lose some. You're going to have good periods and bad periods. And as a result, everybody's, right around the mushy middle.
Yeah, I think it's
But
a little
they've
bit
all
all of
got
it.
winning records, which means we've been beating up on the worst three teams in
Yeah,
the
I
Western
think it.
Conference,
Well, I think it's a little
which
bit
is a
all of
much
it.
more normal distribution in the West,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I think it's a little bit of what you said there, and I think it's a little bit of all of it. I think it's a little bit of that mushy hockey to start the season. There was a few teams like Tampa Bay, Toronto, and in Ottawa that have started off slower than we expected,
Yeah.
and have kept other teams a little bit more in the mix. And there's been
Yeah. You could
teams,
throw Florida in the mix there too.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you can talk about teams that we haven't expected. We didn't expect the Penguins to jump off to the start. No one yes, you said Canadians were going to start out better than last year, but this good. Detroit, I called them to make the playoffs this year, but did I think they'd start out this strong? No. So I think there's a little bit of the mushy hockey, a little bit of teams not doing as good as we thought of others, so it's kept them all bunched in the middle. And it'll be interesting as we go through this next month and we know what happens at the end of the month. We won't get into it right now.
Yeah, well, that's just right, right?
How
Where
makes that
it's
theory into play.
yeah, the Thanksgiving theory goes out the window when you've got 7 teams within 1 point of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Because anybody is, that's you're just basically tossing it in the bingo the bingo roll.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but West, it's a lot more normal looking, right? You've got St. Louis, which is really surprisingly bad. Minnesota is under 500 and not looking that great. They're getting middle and goaltending. Speaking of which, St. Louis, I mean, um, Eddington is a disaster right now. He's one of the most
Biddington.
goalies.
Oh yeah.
Bennington, Jesus, Eddington.
Biddington.
Who am I?
Oh, sorry. I was wondering where you were going there.
Yeah, I didn't know where I was going.
Hold on. Have we reversed roles today?
I think we've reverse roles. I don't know what I drank.
Yeah, Jordan Biddington hasn't looked good.
Jordan Binnington, Joel Eddington versus Jordan Binnington. All right, Ryan, good job. Binnington is not looking like an Olympic goalie. He's not even looking like a high school goalie right now. So they're going to have to figure out how to get him back on track.
But
or
he'll
St.
be on the
Louis's
team. I don't
season is
care
over.
what season he's having. He might not start, but he'll be on that team.
Yeah,
You
well,
can't leave him off that team after what he did at the Four Nations.
fair enough.
I don't care what anybody says. He'll find the groove. He'll come up in the big moments.
He
But you're
better.
right. He's having a tough team. But that team right now is having minus 17 goals for, goals against. That
It's
is terrible at
terrible.
this point. So yeah, and you got to think that there's two really good goalies right now struggling because of the teams in front of them. Jordan Binnington, one of them, and Wolf, the other one.
Yeah. By the way, if St. Louis keeps going the way they're going, there's an argument to be made in December that Colton Parayko gets traded well before the deadline. Start the early sell-off. Lots of teams want a giant, mean defenseman to get them through the playoffs. Get him in early, get him accustomed to whatever system the team that trades for him is using. I think if St. Louis doesn't turn things around before the middle of December, he very well might get traded.
Yeah, well, I would
And
think
you
there could
might
be a
see
bunch of
Jordan
guys you can
Kyrou
add to
traded
that
as
list.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're going to add Anderson to that list. I think you add Kadri to that list. You know, yes, Parenko. Who else? Who knows who else could be on that list from those teams? Does Brady Shen finally give up his no trade because the Leafs tried to get him at the trade deadline last year? Not saying the Leafs will get him this year, but will St. Louis and will he given where the team is, be more willing to let himself be moved this
Or
year
will anybody
because
really
that's
want
another
him
guy.
anymore? He's looking like a
Yeah.
lead-footed, Yeti out there. It's like,
But there's a because of all the injuries, and we talked about this, and I want to go through the list. There's another list of guys in the last week that have gone down. Guys like him that can prove to be tough and durable and
Mhm.
playoff performers and centermen. There's a lack of that right now in the NHL. So him and Kadri could be guys that people will want as the season goes on for a playoff push or a playoff run because you need some depth there and you need some guys that can play both ways, can contribute offensively, can be gritty, can play the hard-nosed game, and those guys are those guys, right? So
Right.
I think those guys will be well sought after come whenever they're willing to do it. But I think you're right. I think that in coming into December, if teams like St. Louis, Calgary, and Minnesota, and for that matter, Nashville, don't turn things around, like they're going to be gone. Like Steven Stamkos could be traded because he's having a terrible season. He needs this trade to this signing with the Predators has been a complete debacle for him. He's had two miserable seasons there, and I would say that you got to offload him. If they continue to look as bad as they're looking now, you got to look to offload him and try and get something in return.
Yeah. But by the way, just so I can fantasize for a second, imagine if the Canadians were able to put Line on the long-term injured reserve, free up the cap space, and then trade for Steven Stamkos for the playoff push, having
Uh,
him center the second line. That that would
yeah.
be
Yeah, I
pretty
think you're a
devastating.
little bit dreaming in Technicolor
Oh
because I
no,
think
there's no
there's
question. I'm dreaming in 3D here.
yeah, because
I'm
there's been
dreaming
a
in
lot of
Dolby
there's actually been some
Atmos
talk.
3D.
Yeah, there's been some talk that Vancouver is hovering around the Steven Stamkos area already, looking to maybe
Oh really?
bring him in. So,
Yeah, I think the Canadians would have a better chance of getting old number 67 back, Max Pacioretty, out of retirement from Michigan.
yeah. Well, what is the status of Line A? He's gone, what,
Three
no,
to four
4 months?
months
Yeah.
with
So,
a core injury.
yeah. Do you
The
think he'll be back at all? Do you think he'll come back?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll come back. He came back last year,
Yeah.
and he's very motivated to come back because he's a free agent next year, right?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
um, it'll be very important for him to show, if not the Canadians, that another team that he has something to offer next season. So
Absolutely. So where else
yep,
did we want to bounce around? We talked a little bit about, Carolina has cooled off. New Jersey hasn't. New Jersey
New
continues
Jersey's
to
cooled
play
off a little
really
bit. They had a
well.
couple of bad losses this week. They lost to the Sharks, I think. And the Sharks have cooled off from their hot start. They're four
Yeah.
and six and whatever now.
Yeah.
But Macklin Celebrini hasn't really cooled off, and
No.
he's looking like he might not make the top nine forwards or on Team Canada, but
I think
he's an
he's
Olympic
looking good.
possible. He could be
Yeah,
the 13th or 14th forward on that team,
absolutely. I think
perhaps.
if with the talent that Team Canada has, and given the fact that we were wrong about the size of their rink,
Yeah, did you have something you wanted to
yes,
retract on
yes, I
that?
have to retract something else. I thought that like every Olympic tournament, that the Olympics we played on the Olympic size ice, which is a lot bigger, especially in the corners. That's not the case in Italy, if this rink ever gets built. But
Fair
it's
point.
going to be played on an NHL sized rink, not an international sized rink or Olympic sized rink, which is even bigger. Um, but I think Team Canada would be wise to, with the extra forward space to put people like Celebrini and potentially Bedard, who's having a good season, on this team to give them some little international experience at that level. They've got plenty of international experience at the
Yeah,
World
even if they
Juniors
don't
and juniors
play,
levels. But yeah, even if they don't
even if they don't
play,
play, they're there,
being
right?
around the guys like Crosby and the Team Canada stars and McDavid and
McKinnon,
McKinnon
Nick
and
Suzuki.
Suzuki and Makar. Oh, but I think Suzuki's going to be on this team.
I think
So
if he stays in the
absolutely,
top five in the league in scoring, of course he's going
absolutely. But
to.
I think you got to think about some of these young guys and giving them an opportunity to surround themselves with that talent
Yeah,
and show them how to win
yeah.
for the
By the way,
future.
speaking of young players that are playing their way on a Olympic roster consideration, Logan Cooley's tearing it up. I mean,
No question.
he's a big reason why Utah is where they are right now.
Oh, absolutely. He could end up edging out someone like Patrick Kane, who's actually having a great season. But
As long as he doesn't edge out Cole Caulfield. who's
He won't, yeah,
who's also
go
having an
again.
excellent season.
Another guy, and look, I think you have to actually, you think of the young talent in the league right now. We skipped over a little bit over the what I know it's really early in the season, but it seems like the rookie race uh, is down to potentially two players, maybe three. If I know you want to think about Dobish as a potential
Well,
a rookie. He's
technically he's a rookie.
technically he's a rookie, but Schaefer and Demidov are just heads and tails looking elite compared to the rest of the rookies in the league. Demidov is having, as we said earlier, a very mature style play and playing well and making some dazzling moves. And I haven't watched a lot about the Islanders, but I watched a bunch of highlights earlier today, just sort of thinking about this. And that kid is doing it on both ends of the rink, and he's playing in a lot of high pressured situations.
He's
He's
playing
doing it, playing in the defensive zone well. He's playing in the offensive zone really well. He's jumping in. He's on a really bad team, and he's looking really good. That's another
He's playing
guy. Team,
25. He's playing 25 minutes a night, and he's tied with the rookie league in lead with scoring with
absolutely.
Davidoff
That's
as a defenseman.
that's another kid that could be making overtures of being on Team Canada now. I think first season's too much to
Yeah,
ask,
a 19-year-old
but
defenseman of
well,
all. I
especially when you
mean,
got
yeah,
people like Celebrini and Bedard that you probably want to put on there because it's first time, but still, he is looking impressive.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty. It is very, very, very impressive what he's doing. And Michael Misa's playing well too. I mean, don't rule. I mean, I don't think he's a serious candidate, but he's playing well.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
a
no
lot
question.
of good rookies. I would venture to say that the future of the league is in good hands. There's a lot of really good,
Well,
skilled
the
young talent.
future of Team Canada is in good hands too, potentially.
Well, we're going to need some more defensemen
We also our biggest
and a
problem is
goalie.
the goaltending.
We're going to need a goalie. We need
Yes, yes. You just said it. Our best goaltender is having a crappy year. We got to hope that someone steps up. Hope he fixes his game. Jari, if he can keep going. Um, who else are we thinking of needs to be stepped up there? But I don't think Montembeau makes this team right now.
not the way he's playing.
No, no. So,
Yeah, definitely
but
not the way he's playing. I think he'll find his game eventually, but not the way he's playing.
yeah.
It's a
What are you
little.
looking forward to this coming week?
Canadians have a game against the Flyers tomorrow. So looking forward to that.
Looking for an easy 2 points.
No, I don't think they're look the way they play in third periods. I don't think they're any easy 2 points anymore. All that parity in the Eastern Conference, but looking forward to seeing them play a little more. Looking forward to seeing their defensive structure hold up through three periods. Can they finally get that done? I think once they get that done a couple of times, that sort of feeds on itself
Yeah.
from a confidence perspective. You start panicking in your defensive zone because you've blown so many leads already. So once you hold it a couple of times, they'll be fine. Want to see a little bit more goal scoring out of Connor McDavid. He has jumped to the league lead in assists to 16 with my boy Nick Suzuki, but he's still not got a ton of scoring. He doesn't have a lot of goals, so I'm expecting him. And I said this last week too. I expect him to start shooting the puck more, and then to go. I don't know if anybody's going to catch McKinnon before all is said and done.
I'd still say once they get healthy too and get how bad is that? We're having trouble with names today. He gets his winger back off of Hyman, comes back off of injury, and they can spread their lines out a little bit more and have a little dangerous scoring from other places. That will help open up space for him to shoot the puck a little bit more. Because
Okay, that's
right now you can two-man him pretty badly and make him not shoot the puck.
but I do think that I want to see what Tampa does over the next week. Can they keep it going? They've been the hottest team in the NHL over the last 10 days. What do they have left in the tank? Is this a trend, or are they just going to be up and down all season?
Yeah.
Because everybody picked them as a potential Stanley Cup finalist at the beginning of the year, that they were, maybe their window wasn't closing, but it was sort of starting to find a little grease on the hinges to start closing a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They looked very slow, especially on the back end, the first couple weeks of the season, and then they look unbeatable in the second.
Well,
So
if
who
you
are the
read
real Tampa Bay Lightning?
if you read some of the pundits out there and some of the sports writers were putting Cooper's head on a platter. I'm going, dude, this guy has done way too much for this team. It's
Yeah,
way too early to start
this
putting
is the
his
best
head on a
coach in the
platter.
NHL.
Yeah, no
He's the
kidding.
best coach in the NHL. Shut up.
Yeah, there's just no way that guy's getting fired anytime soon. They have to do more than have a bad start to the season um, to get him fired. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. How
So,
about you? What are you looking for?
look, I'm looking for obviously, I want, tonight, yeah, the Leafs in the third period showed how they can play and can play aggressively. So, they've got a big game coming up. The next two games, well, two of the next three games coming up are pretty big. Utah with the way they're playing will be a good test, but Sunday night against Carolina will be a real test of the East. You've picked Carolina to go to the Eastern Final. I've picked Toronto to go to Eastern Final, probably against them. This will be a big test in terms of seeing how they can play together, and I'll be looking for the effort to come out of it and continue to see how they do. I'll be interested to see who's in net for that game too, because at this point, the Leafs have been resistant to play Stolhart's back to back. I'm not sure Wool's ready to go yet. So will they play Primo on Saturday night and save Stolhart's for Sunday against Carolina, or will they stick with Stolhart's on Saturday night against Boston and play Primo against Carolina? I don't think you can do that. I think you got to save Stolhart's for Carolina.
Yeah, you don't want to throw Primo to the Wolves.
Yeah, but they haven't tended to do the rotation that way. And I haven't seen anything about Wool being quite ready to come back yet, although he's skating and practicing with the team. And I don't think you want to throw him into the Wolves against Carolina either, but
Not
maybe
on
you
the
want
first
to
game of
play
the year.
against Dallas. Maybe you put him against Boston on Saturday night.
Yeah. The game against Carolina, remind me, it's at home.
No,
It's in Carolina.
it's in
Then you're not
Carolina, I
playing Wool.
believe. Yeah,
You're not
no.
play. You don't play. You don't play a recovering goalie in Carolina. That's just dumb. That team is like a bunch of wasps darting around
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
in their
Is
home
there's
ice.
just
Yeah.
no way that you want to play him then. So
Yep.
I'm just trying to look to find that game, and somehow I can't find the game. Here it is. I'm pretty sure the Leafs are, it's at home actually. Sorry, my fault.
Okay.
It is
Never
at
mind.
home
Scratch that
in
whole.
Toronto.
How are we
Scratch
going to
that
edit
little
more out
piece.
of it?
Yeah. Um, yeah, the Leafs are home both to Boston on Saturday night and then home to Carolina on Sunday. Because Saturday
Okay.
night is actually the Hall of Fame game.
Oh,
So
okay.
where the players get inducted into the play next Monday, and we'll talk more about next Sunday, but players get
Yeah, we'll
inducted.
talk about all the guys going into the Hall
Yeah,
of Fame next
yeah.
week. That'll be a fun
It's a great
conversation
group
because it's such a
actually.
great class.
Yeah,
Yeah, very
absolutely.
great class.
So it's cool. But that's all I'm looking forward to. Look at them. Want to see some Leafs effort. I want to see them use the third period tonight as a sort of jumping off point, and I want to see them get healthy. We need to have some of our guys come back and get healthy.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Well, maybe they will take the torch from the never say die Toronto Blue Jays and turn their season on
Let's hope.
overdrive.
Let's hope. With that,
Yep.
it's going to be another fun week, and I will see you next week. On
All right,
the
sir.
Five Hole Podcast. You have a great week, Ryan.
You too, Phil. Be well.
Talk to you there. Bye bye.